Somewhere in China right now, a man is serving a life sentence for killing a bear. Not for killing a person, for killing an animal. Hold that. Because 80 billion land animals will die this year to feed us, and not one person will go to prison for a single one of them. You are standing in front of a grocery store meat counter. Chicken, beef, pork, lamb. You have walked past this glass 1,000 times and never once asked who decided what goes behind it. Someone did decide, and it wasn't you. There is an animal missing from every menu on Earth. 200 pounds, cannot run, falls out of trees, lives in a country with a 3,000-year-old tradition of eating anything that moves. Nobody eats panda. Not because it's endangered, not because it's hard to catch, not because nobody ever tried. We tried. For hundreds of thousands of years, we tried. The proof is in the ground. Cut marks on panda bones, blade marks, lying in the same cave layers as stone tools. We hunted them, we butchered them, we ate them, and then we stopped so completely that doing it now can cost you your life. The panda didn't change, not its DNA, not its behavior, not one thing about it. We changed. Stay till the end, because the last part isn't about pandas at all. It's about a circuit in your skull that decides who lives and who gets eaten. And it has been running your whole life without asking you. Sichuan, 1929. Two men are climbing through freezing bamboo forest at 9,000 feet. They are not scientists. They are the sons of a president of the United States, Theodore Roosevelt Jr. and Kermit Roosevelt. They have come to shoot a giant panda. Specifically, to be the first Westerners to do it. Remember them, because 50 years later, a poor man in those same mountains doing that same thing will be stood in front of a firing squad. Same act, same animal, same mountain. Something happened in between. But before you can understand what, you have to understand what a panda actually is. And almost nothing you believe about it is true. Start here. The giant panda is not a vegetarian. I know, you have watched it eat bamboo your entire life. Look at the body instead. Order Carnivora, same branch as wolves, lions, grizzly bears. Open its mouth and there are canine teeth built for tearing flesh. Now look inside. Short gut, simple. No four stomachs like a cow, no fermentation chamber, not one organ anywhere in that animal designed to break down a plant. It has the digestive system of a predator, and it fills it with wood. So what broke? A gene called T1R1. T1R1 builds the receptor that lets a mammal taste umami, savory, meat. The signal your tongue fires at your brain that says protein, more, now. In 2010, a team led by the geneticist Huabin Zhao sequenced the panda's copy. It's dead, not weak, switched off. And they dated the break to roughly 4.2 million years ago, right when pandas moved on to bamboo. Say that slowly. A panda cannot taste meat. Put a steak in front of it and it gets almost nothing. The one flavor that drives every other bear on this planet does not exist inside its mouth. So it walked away from meat and walked into a forest it also cannot digest. Because that's the absurd part. The panda never evolved to process bamboo either. It just started and never stopped and never got any better at it. Some studies put its extraction rate around 17%. 17. A cow pulls far more out of grass than a panda pulls out of the thing it eats exclusively. Which leaves one solution: volume. 14 hours a day, not hunting, not exploring, not defending anything. Chewing. 40 kilograms of bamboo in a day, and most of it comes out the other end barely changed. Stand there for a second. Cold mountain forest. Fog sitting in the trees. Water running off every leaf. And one sound. Cracking. Endless, patient cracking. 200 pounds of bear sitting in the mud, snapping stalks for half of every day it will ever live. It cannot be curious. It cannot play. It cannot run. Every calorie it spends has to be paid back in hours of chewing. And that arithmetic rebuilt it from the inside. In 2015, a team led by Yonggang Nie measured how much energy wild pandas actually burn. They published it in Science. 38% of what you'd predict for a mammal that size. That is sloth territory. A bear that burns energy like a sloth. And they found the machinery: small liver, small kidneys, a brain smaller than a bear that size should carry, plus a mutation affecting thyroid hormone, which is the throttle on your entire metabolism. The panda turned its own throttle down and left it there. Now put a spear in your hand and look at that animal. Enormous, slow, sitting still 14 hours a day. It won't run because running costs energy it doesn't have. It is, in the coldest possible terms, 300 pounds of protein that cannot get away from you, so we took it. Across southern China, paleontologists keep digging up the same ancient assemblage. They named it the Ailuropoda stegodon fauna. Ailuropoda is the panda. Stegodon was an elephant-sized giant. They shared those forests with early humans for hundreds of thousands of years. And in some of those layers, panda bones lie beside worked stone, with cuts on them. For most of our history, the panda was dinner. So when did it stop being dinner? Earlier than anyone expects. 1975. Archaeologists in China open a burial site connected to Empress Dowager Bo, mother of Emperor Wen of the Han Dynasty. She died around 155 BC. Inside a burial pit, a giant panda skull. Not kitchen waste, not butchery scraps. Placed deliberately in a royal tomb. That is not food. That is an animal considered worthy of following an empress into the afterlife. 2,000 years ago, the panda had already crossed the line. And there's a second reason, much less noble. It tastes disgusting. The West didn't know the animal existed until 1869. When a French missionary named Armand David saw a black and white pelt hanging in a house in Baoxing, Sichuan. He'd never seen anything like it. He hired hunters. They brought him a body. That was the panda's entrance into Western science. And in the decades after, as hunters moved through those mountains, accounts of eating it start appearing. The verdict barely varies. Tough, stringy, sour. Some said it stank. Some said it was greasy in a way that was actively unpleasant. Almost nobody said it was good. Why would it be? You are what you eat. And that is not a metaphor. It's chemistry. A panda's body is a bamboo processing plant running 14 hours a day. Bamboo is fiber and bitter plant compounds. Its gut is packed with the bacteria required to survive that. Its muscle is dense working tissue, with almost none of the marbled fat that makes beef taste like anything. Remember the energy budget. This animal has no spare calories to store as delicious fat. It never has. Lean, bitter meat from a creature that spent its whole life eating wood. And it might kill you. Wild pandas carry a roundworm called Balasascaris schroederi. It is one of the leading known causes of death in wild pandas. Its cousins are notorious in human medicine. The raccoon version, if the eggs are swallowed, sends larvae migrating through the body. Some reach the brain. Bear meat in general has a long, documented history of putting parasites into people. It's why hunters are told, over and over, never eat bear rare. So run an ancient hunter's day forward. Be honest about it. Option 1. Climb into a freezing cloud forest. Track a solitary bear through dense bamboo. Get within killing distance of jaws that snap stalks like pencils. Carry 200 pounds back down a mountain. Eat sour meat. Maybe get larvae in your skull. Option 2. Keep a pig behind the house. It eats your scraps. It grows fast. It breeds constantly. It stores fat. That was never a hard choice. And that is why the pig is on your plate and the panda never was. But here's the thing. That explains why we stopped eating them. It does not explain the firing squad. Plenty of animals taste terrible. We don't execute people over them. In the 1980s, panda pelts became one of the most valuable wildlife products on Earth. Reported prices ran into the tens of thousands of dollars for one skin. China's response was without parallel. Killing a giant panda became one of the most severely punished wildlife crimes anywhere in the world. Life sentences in the late 1980s. Some poachers sentenced to death. Now go back to the mountain. The Roosevelt brothers shot their panda. They came home heroes. Their kill became a museum specimen and a story they told for the rest of their lives. Nobody arrested anyone. 50 years later, the same act in the same forest is a capital crime. Nothing about the animal moved. So what moved in us? 1943. An Austrian scientist named Konrad Lorenz describes something he calls Kindchenschema, the baby schema. He noticed human infants share a fixed set of physical features. He listed 6. A large head relative to the body, a rounded face, a high protruding forehead, large eyes set low in the face, a soft rounded body, clumsy uncoordinated movement. And Lorenz argued those 6 are not decoration, they are a trigger. See them and something fires in you before you have any say in it. Protectiveness, softness, the urge to handle carefully. It exists for a merciless reason. Human infants are helpless for years. Any lineage whose adults weren't compulsively drawn to protect them is not here anymore. So evolution wired it in and never asked permission. Now hold a panda against that list, one at a time. Large head on the body. The panda carries an oversized round skull on a heavy, shapeless frame. Pass. Rounded face. One of the flattest, roundest faces of any bear, because the muscles for crushing bamboo widened its skull. Pass. High forehead. That same broad, domed cranium. Pass. Soft, rounded body. It sits upright. It slumps. It rolls. It holds food in its front paws like hands. Pass. Clumsy movement. There is an entire genre of internet video that exists only because pandas fall out of trees. Pass. 5 for 5, which leaves 1. Large eyes, set low in the face. And this is where it stops being funny. A panda's real eyes are small, dark, almost impossible to pick out, but they sit in the center of 2 enormous black patches. At any distance, your brain never finds the eye. It finds the patch. And it reports back eyes many times larger than they actually are. 6 for 6, a perfect score on a checklist for human babies. And the panda is not doing it on purpose. Those markings almost certainly evolved for camouflage and signaling in a snowy forest, millions of years before there was anyone around to be disarmed by them. The panda is an accidental key that fits a lock inside your skull. That lock was never built for bears, and it's stronger than you think. In 2012, a Japanese researcher named Hiroshi Nittono ran experiments on what he called the power of Kawaii. People looked at images of baby animals, then performed tasks requiring fine motor control and close attention. Their performance improved. Cuteness made them measurably more careful, more focused, gentler with their hands. It doesn't just make you say, "aw," it narrows your attention and slows your movements, exactly as it would if you were holding an infant. So when you look at a panda, you are not forming an opinion. You are being operated. And states figured this out before scientists did. 1972. China sends 2 pandas, Ling Ling and Sing Sing, to the United States, into the middle of a fragile thaw between 2 countries that had barely spoken in decades. Millions of Americans line up. We call it panda diplomacy, which makes it sound charming. Look at what it actually was. A government discovered that one animal's face could walk straight past politics and soften a hostile public in a way no speech, no treaty, and no negotiator ever managed. And in 1961, when a new conservation organization needed a logo that would make the whole world care about creatures it had never met, it chose the panda. Out of every endangered species alive, that one. Not the rarest, the one you cannot look away from. So here is what is actually underneath all of this. The anthropologist Marvin Harris spent his career on a single question. Why does one culture's sacred animal end up as another culture's dinner? His answer was that food taboos are not superstition. They follow a logic. We do not eat animals that are worth more to us alive. Alive, a panda is diplomacy, tourism, national identity, billions in goodwill. Dead, it is sour meat and a prison sentence. The panda didn't survive because it was strong. It didn't survive because it was smart. It survived because it was loved. Now turn that around. A pig can solve puzzles. A pig learns its own name. On some tests, a pig beats a dog. Cows form friendships. Cows grieve. Cows feel fear, and they feel pain, in the same way a panda does. But a cow has a long face, side-set eyes, a snout. 0 out of 6. It doesn't fit the lock. So we kill 80 billion land animals a year and barely feel the weight of one of them. And we put a man in front of a firing squad for a single bear. We didn't reason our way there, we felt our way there. The psychologist Melanie Joy has a name for the invisible system that sorts animals into food and family. She calls it carnism. And the part that should keep you up is this. You never chose your side of that line. You inherited it. You were born carrying a circuit built to keep a human infant alive. And that circuit does not check what species it's looking at. It checks the shape of a face. So go back to the counter. Chicken, beef, pork, lamb. Not one round face, not one high forehead, no large eyes set low. That glass isn't a coincidence. It's a filter, and you have been reading it your entire life without knowing it said anything. We like to believe our mercy is a decision, that we weigh and judge and choose. The panda proves something quieter than that. Your compassion has a shape. Whatever matches it, you protect. Everything else, you eat. The panda never earned a thing. It was just born with the right face. And so were you.